I did not have the best FY17 here at Oracle. I even tried to jump ship at least once. I won't tell you how many times. The restlessness culminated, and I was afforded an opportunity at the end of FY17 to join my former manager's team. Starting in FY18 this year, I accepted that opportunity. While I was in workflow for obviously more than a few weeks, I pondered my future both at Oracle and career. I didn't want to remain stagnant, and I definitely did not want my career to become desultory. In this time, while I was in workflow, I went for a long weekend with my friend and his family down to Cape Cod. My friend and I embarked on our journey early that Friday morning as he had to be online in time for the workday to start. Since I was in workflow, we'll say that I did too. We all know what that means. Anyway, at dinner that night, he complained to myself and his family. He said, it was really frustrating for me at 3 p.m. on a Friday in July to see the rest of my colleagues, whether in the office or working remotely, all sign off. I wanted to be a good employee, so I stayed on until 5 p.m., but it was really frustrating. His dad responded with a question that has stuck with me to this day. Obviously, as I'm going to repeat it for you today, it has changed my worldview. His dad retorted with a groan, a sigh, and an eye roll. Ugh, where's the commitment? That C word. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I found the commitment. I'm here today to share with you not just where the commitment is, but also how it has shaped my life today and onward. I'm first going to define what exactly commitment is, as that seems like a good starting point. From there, I'm going to inform you about some of the commitments that I've either formed or renewed in my own life. And finally, I'm going to share with you one of the unforeseen advantages that I have taken away in viewing my life in this new form. All right, so first, what is a commitment? I Googled commitment, and the definition that dictionary.com gave me was a state or quality of being dedicated to an act or cause. Of course, in true Keith fashion, I felt the need to tweak this definition a little bit. I like the beginning half of that definition, a state or quality of being dedicated to an act or cause, but I felt that it needed the inherent sacrifice, let's call it. I put sacrifice in air quotes because it's not really a sacrifice. I've come to think of it as more of an investment. Of course, if you want to grow your personal wealth, you need to sacrifice or invest some of your personal wealth in something else, whether that be a house or the stock market, to see it grow. All right, so enough of the technical talk. What have I committed myself to? Well, let's start with the obvious. I recommitted myself to my job, my career, and Oracle. How did I do this, you might ask? Well, instead of lethargically waking up at 7:30 and trying to make it here on time by 9 a.m. so I don't get scolded, I have created an alarm in my phone to go off at 6:30 a.m. and I make it here no later than 7:45 a.m. every single day. And I eat breakfast here too. It helps get me going, and it really helps me make cold calls in the morning. Next, I will talk about golf for sport and leisure. In May, I purchased my first set of golf clubs. Now, between May and this weekend at the Cape in July, I had only gone to the driving range once or twice. After that weekend, I decided to double down on my commitment to golf. I came home, went to Golf Galaxy here in Burlington, purchased a 6-pack of lessons, and began going to the driving range. Since that weekend in July, I have now been to the driving range at least once a week, every week. Finally, I'll talk about education. I always want to be growing, expanding my mind, and learning. Many of you know that I enjoy learning languages and have taken Chinese. I found myself coming to an end with Chinese, not in terms of the language and my enjoyment of it, but more so in what I was capable of learning. At work, I did a little bit of research, and I found that there is an Arabic class a few blocks from my apartment. I then invested the money in the Arabic class and have since then not only started taking Arabic classes once a week, but even doing something that I didn't always do in college, the homework. All right, so if you were listening closely at the beginning and you're sitting on the edge of your seat wondering, all right, I get it, I get commitment, but what is the unforeseen advantage that you were hinting at? Well, I'll tell you. The unforeseen advantage that I have unlocked in my own life is that in thinking about commitments and my life in terms of those commitments, I've been able to delineate what is a commitment and what is not. You see, it's actually pretty binary and black and white. You're either committed to something or you're not. It's a 1 or a 0. Now, this is a little bit intimidating, but what I've enjoyed in looking at my life in this new format is I've been able to be a little bit more real with myself. Am I really committed to this? Some of you know my obsession with obtaining a 6-pack. Well, I'm here to tell you today that while I am committed to staying in incredible shape, as you can obviously see, I am real with myself and I am not as committed to a 6-pack as I thought I was. I might have dessert, I might enjoy my wheat thins, or I might even have pizza every Tuesday at Toastmasters. But the enjoyment of eating what I would like outweighs my commitment to a 6-pack. I started a commitment to attending an open mic night for stand-up comedy in Faneuil Hall. I quickly found after a few weeks and equally as many bombs that I may not be as committed to perfecting my craft of stand-up comedy as I once thought I might be. I share these things with you not to tell you that I'm a great person or that I have all these wonderful commitments in my life. While the commitments do make my life a little bit better, it's the view of my life that has made things so much easier and, as I mentioned, better. I encourage you all to take a few minutes later today to think to yourself, what am I committed in? What am I not committed to? Because when you start thinking about your life this way, it really makes it easy to dedicate your time and, as I mentioned earlier, your finances. At the end of the day, the reason this is so important is because I'm not making a commitment, or I am, but I'm not only making a commitment to my Arabic teacher, to my golf instructor, to my boss. The most important person that I'm making a commitment to is myself. Thank you.